It was tucked behind old photos in the bottom drawer. A letter with no name, no address, just a small red heart on the back. Kelly held it like it might break. She wasn't looking for secrets. But secrets have a way of finding you when you're not ready. The paper felt worn, like it had been touched many times before. She knew that handwriting. She knew that heart. And deep inside, she knew what it was. This wasn't a note. It was a goodbye. And Mark had been hiding it from her. For weeks. The days leading up to it had been strange. Mark had grown quieter at home. He smiled, but something about his smile felt different, like it took more effort. Late at night, Kelly would hear him walking the hallway, sometimes just standing outside their bedroom door. Once, she caught him staring at the kids' drawings on the fridge with tears in his eyes. When she asked if everything was okay, he always said yes. Just tired, he would say. But Kelly knew tired. This was something deeper, something heavier. And now, holding that letter, all those quiet moments made sense. He had been preparing for something she wasn't ready to face. He was saying goodbye without saying a word. Kelly sat on the edge of the bed. Her hands trembled as she opened the folded paper. It wasn't long, just a few short lines, but every word landed like thunder. My love, if you're reading this, it means I couldn't say it out loud. I didn't want to see your face when I said goodbye. I didn't want to see the kids cry. I didn't want to fall apart in front of you. But I needed you to know. I love you more than anything in this world. I've been sick longer than I let on. The doctors told me I had time, but they were wrong. I feel it every day, and I don't want my last days to be filled with pain and hospitals. I want to remember our laughter, your smile, the way the house smells after you cook. Please don't be angry. I didn't mean to hide this. I was just trying to protect what little normal we had left. Tell the kids their dad loves them, and that they were my biggest joy. Love, Mark. When Kelly finished reading, her heart felt both full and shattered. It was the most loving, painful thing he'd ever written. Kelly walked downstairs in silence. The house was still, but the walls felt like they were whispering. Everything looked the same, yet nothing did. She sat in the kitchen chair Mark always used. His coffee mug still sat in the sink. His jacket was still draped over the stool. She reached for it, pressing her face into the fabric, searching for a scent, a trace, anything. And then she cried. Not loudly, not wildly, just silently, tears streaming down, soaking into the jacket sleeve. She didn't want to wake the kids. She didn't want them to see her like this. But the grief had finally arrived. It came not with a scream but a whisper. Not with chaos, but with stillness. She clutched the letter to her chest, realizing she was holding the last piece of Mark that was truly his. The next morning, the sun came up like it always did. But the house felt heavier. Kelly moved slowly, carefully keeping her emotions in check. Joaquin walked into the kitchen, rubbing his eyes. "Mom, where's Dad?" he asked, looking around. Kelly knelt beside him, brushing his hair back. "He's resting," she whispered. "He just needs a little time." But the questions kept coming. Lola noticed the red in Kelly's eyes. Michael kept glancing at the door. And Kelly knew she couldn't hold the truth in forever. That night after dinner, she sat them all down on the couch. "Daddy wrote me a letter," she began, her voice shaking. "He's been very sick, and he didn't want us to worry." The room went quiet. Tears welled up in Lola's eyes. Michael looked away. Joaquin just held her hand tightly. "He wanted you to know he loves you so much. You are his whole world, and he's still with us in everything we do." That night, Kelly tucked them in with a softness she hadn't used in years. She sang the old songs Mark used to hum, and before turning off the lights, she whispered the words she wasn't ready to believe. "Daddy loves you. Always." Kelly didn't call anyone that day. She didn't rush to the hospital. She didn't plan a memorial. She just sat, with the letter, with the memories, with the silence. Mark had already made peace, and now she had to do the same. She walked through each room, touching the things he loved. The record player he insisted on keeping. The bookshelf he swore he'd organize. The photo wall filled with laughter. Later that evening, she lit a candle and placed it on the windowsill. Not because it was a tradition, but because it felt right. A soft light for a soul she loved. She opened the letter once more, letting her fingers trace the handwriting. And then, in a whisper only the walls could hear, she said, "You were my home, and I will carry you forever." There was no dramatic goodbye, no last-minute phone call, just a quiet moment between a woman, her heart, and the man who filled it. The letter wasn't an ending. It was a promise. That love doesn't end with silence. That memory doesn't fade with time. It was a different kind of goodbye, one that stayed. If this story touched your heart, take a quiet moment today to tell someone you love them. Sometimes the words we don't say are the ones that stay with us the longest. If you felt the emotion in this story, please consider liking the video, subscribing for more heartfelt updates, and sharing your thoughts in the comments. We're here with you, through the pain, the memories, and the healing.